the counties, those are the wards that fall within Kiambu County that would be listed as semi-arid. Yeah, those are the hardest hit areas, about water, about things to do with irrigation and so on. These are the areas that require most of the interventions. In Kiambu, we have at least a third of the land where we border Machakos and Kitui, where we border Narok and Kajiado. Most of those wards are very, very dry areas, which are very unlike now what you see on the other part of Limuru and so on. And so the interventions about the planting of trees, fruits, and water solutions are very needed there in those areas. That's why you may see them being repeated quite a lot.
Thank you. Maybe you, any other response?
Maybe, Chair, next time when they're giving us a report, we need, because the way you have put the money received as per the financial year, we need also the project to be done as per the financial year, so that it will be easy for us, which each financial year, which project has been implemented and which is completed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Governor. Maybe your last word.
Thank you, Chair. I want to appreciate the committee, especially because when I served in this house, matters, Floka and others have not taken center stage. We are glad to see that you are following this.
And also in Juja Farm in that sequence. Finally, if you allow me, I would also be able to take you through the key challenges, the best practices, if you allow me, so that we can be, I'll take the best part of practices, and then I'll allow my CCM to continue with the lessons and the key challenges that we experienced during the implementation of this project. Number one, that is, I invite you to page number 9, inclusive stakeholder engagement. We realize that throughout this process, there is a very active participation of ward climate change committees, and of course during different levels of implementation. And we see this as a best practice for sustainable project utilization. Chair, also there is an institutional strengthening as a result of this, and my colleague had already mentioned under the grant 1, which supported in ensuring that the systems are strengthened, and that has also been able to support us to smoothly implement the investment grant. And we think that if this is carried forward as a best practice, we'll be able to onboard quite a number of projects moving forward. In terms of the transparency in management of our finances, this has been very key, and His Excellency had alluded to this, that use of special purpose account at the central bank Thank you. project. And briefly, I'll take you through the successfully implemented projects before we pick the lessons, and they are highlighted under page number 8. These are projects that are successfully done, and I will only be able to invite you just to go through them unless there is any particular question. Otherwise, thank you very much, and allow my CCM to pick on the lessons and the key challenges that we experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and Your Excellency. And I'm happy with the process in terms of our presentation and what you had requested us to do. From the work we are doing under guidance of His Excellency, I like to single out a few lessons learned. First, the capacity building of our staffs is key, and also the ward committee. If you want the project to succeed, that's a key lesson learned, that you have to train your staff. And within that, we have what is called community buy-in. If your projects are not well aligned with the community requirements, you will have a lot of problem. But in this process, because of all these projects were identified by the community themselves and their leaders, and therefore there was a huge success because of that alignment. And then you can only succeed if you have policy framework, and I would like to thank His Excellency. He was able to provide some funding to complete our Climate Act and other regulations, although we're still doing more, and therefore policy framework is key for the success of this project. But in all circumstances, of course, you find that you have some challenges which again affected our speed of implementation, and key among them, we had delays in disbursement of the funding from the national government treasury that really affected our project progress and the speed at which we were supposed to implement, or speed we were supposed to implement our project. Of course, the cash flow, sometimes you have a few problems in terms of cash flow within the county, and therefore that affected the county funding or counter funding. We also have a situation like here where you have a lot of stakeholders and agencies. So for you to coordinate that, the whole spectrum of the agencies, it was a challenge, because sometimes you will get people who are not coming for the meetings, and again they delay you in terms of when you want to progress, they come and take you back. So the other challenge is, of course, and this is something that I request His Excellency to allow me to say it here. There is a lot of strictness in this condition. There's a lot of conditionality. Some of this, project, you're given a lot of conditions, and sometimes they are not relaxed, and they really affect your program. And I will also request and pray that in future, can the counties also be included in formulating such a project?
Maybe you can give an example of such a condition that is difficult to implement.
For instance, when you are told to give like a counter funding of 1.5, and sometimes you don't have that in your budget, and you did not have, you had not factored it in. We had a problem even convincing the people that, can you allow us to supplement it? Like when they did us our assessment, they looked at a percentage where they said we had only given 1.44999, which for us, we thought 1.499 with a small difference of 0.01, it's equivalent to 1.5. And that brought a lot of issues in our implementation of this program. The other thing is that they had given condition of counter funding for 11 million, and they were not very specific. And then we received a letter that you must have the 11 million. So those are the conditions that sometimes we need to be looked at. But more importantly, is also to look at the scenario of a county like Kiambu, and the intricacies in terms of also budget development. So we need also to be listened to. And more importantly also is for this project, I would have been happier if in future.
What is unique in Kiambu in terms of budget development?
Sorry? The population.
Climate challenges in Kiambu.
The population and what some people call climate change in Kiambu. Like for instance, we had to confess in terms of drainage and the drainage, developing those drainage. It took a lot of time to convince that is a climate-proof project.
But I thought you said earlier that these are projects which were generated from the members of the public.
Yes.
So how are they complaining now that you are doing a drainage? They are now complaining that the drainage is not what we call a climate change program.
The people who came to evaluate, and that's what I'm talking about from higher level, the people who came to evaluate were giving us a little score because they were saying that is not. But we said, and it took a lot of time to convince, we had to tell them that is a Kiambu problem.
You know, they are in the climate change of local program. There are those projects that are mitigating climate change effects. For instance, the drainage, and those that are on climate resilience. Okay. So they cannot complain that oh no, you spent money doing a drainage. Where yet you should have planted trees. They can't complain about that because they are part of the package.
Yeah, that was a problem, and maybe His Excellency will be commenting. Another thing is also we wanted also to use, and I thank His Excellency because you're also building our agencies in terms of also doing some of these works like water works and all that, and we needed also to use the expert.
Apart from this FLOCA, your contribution in FLOCA, does your Kiambu budget have an aspect of climate change?
Yes, and if you look at most of the water programs like boreholes, other boreholes, they are squarely in climate change. And more in others, and in agriculture actually, if you look at agriculture, a significant amount of that is going to the climate change.
So why do you have cash flow problems on FLOCA, not on the other projects? Because here in FLOCA, the way I understand it is, the more you contribute, the more you get from the grant.
Maybe, Chair, what I would say is that I think that wisdom needed to have been partaken earlier by counties. I would say this because from looking across board, a few counties, for example, I would take Baringo as an example. I spoke to the governor there. They had good planning that time. They had good insight into that. And so other than allocating a lot of their projects directly under their own funded programs, they funded them but still under FLOCA. That earned them quite a bit of funding from the program. Otherwise, if one looks at, like, for example, our contribution to FLOCA related programs within the county, we probably are threefold higher than what the actual allocation or the works done under FLOCA are. I think in the county now we've done how many boreholes? We have done over 100 boreholes, and we have solarized very many. In hindsight, I think we should have put most of those under FLOCA, and then probably given us a lot much more funding. But it's a lesson learned.
So what is your contribution in this, for instance, in the climate resilience projects? How much did your county contribute? Because I cannot see it separately stated in the
yeah, and that can be given per financial year.
Yes.
The county contribution and what you got from the exchequer.
Maybe let me allow the CC to comment on that, but I can put in my voice after that. Waziri?
Thank you, Chair. The county had received around 99.5 million, and spread within between 2023-24 and 24-25, we have been able to counterfund 70 million.
So you received 95 million for 2 years, but there's another exchequer release which is coming for 24-25, isn't it?
Yes.
That one you have not received anything?
No.
Okay, but for 23-24 you received 40 million or 45?
We received in 2 tranches which totaled to 99 million.
99 million.
Yes.
So out of 99 million you contributed also 70 million. Okay, but it's not here on in your report, page 2.
If you go to page 2, under the summary of allocations,
Table 1.
yes, so the summary of allocations there are for what we have received from IDA, but down there we have also said that the county has counterfunded 10 million under the first grant for institutional support, and under the second one 70 million for the resilience projects.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Chair, can I ask some few questions?
Yes.
All right. Chair, Governor, you've done very many projects, and I think these are commendable. However, you've not provided the GPS positions for these projects. Is it possible to have the positions for the GPS, the locations provided? Number 2, the projects in table 3 well illustrated, but then it's not possible to establish the number of beneficiaries. For example, if you do a borehole, number 4, equipping and solarization of Guatuanabu borehole, it would have helped if you gave us the number of beneficiaries for that project, just to add some information. And then the last project down there, supply and delivery of bamboo and indigenous tree species for conservation of riparian land. Under status, you indicated seedlings procured, labor contract for works underway. Now the amount for that project is 13,028,000. It is not clear if that amount is spent or if that amount is for the project. If it is the amount for the project, the total cost of the project, then we need to know how much has been spent. All right? Yes. But also, if you come to the table 5, successfully implemented projects, under serial 10 for those projects, project number 10, supply and delivery of bamboo and indigenous tree species for conservation of riparian land. You know, those projects follow under successfully implemented projects. Now, 13.028 million. Is that project complete, successfully implemented, or is it as indicated on page 5 as some work still underway? Maybe you need to clarify on that. And then the same for the other projects on page 6, like construction of Kisii Estate stormwater drainage phase 1, 11.9 million, construction ongoing. We need to know how much has been spent, or is it that for that project you spent 11.9, and so then there is still some money required to complete that project. So I think that would be maybe the last one for me, Chair. If you look at the pictorials There's a project named in Figure 2. A beneficiary next to his farm pond in Chania Ward. A gentleman standing there next to an aquaponic unit. All these projects are done for individuals or for groups, because the way that wording is done is like this man here. Give him a name Maura. That could be his pond.
Yes. Governor, take the questions, and then he will respond.
Thank you, Chair.
Chair, mine will be, because I didn't have the benefit of going through the projects with when the CC was taking us through. Mine will be very general, Chair. I had to rush out. My governor was appearing before CPIC. Mine will be very general, Chair and Governor. Kiambu is generally an urban county. Exactly which are the programs or projects that you are implementing, climate change programs in urban areas, because you have so many, Githurai, Roiro, Kikuyu, Gashie, Kiambu, which are urban area specific climate resilience projects are you carrying out? And to Chair, most of the counties will appear before us and tell us that one of the challenges that they have is vandalism. It has not been listed as one of the challenges with the FLOCA projects in Kiambu. Exactly what then are you doing so that to prevent vandalism, so that maybe when other counties appear here, then we can refer them to you for benchmarking. So mine, Chair, will be just those two. And following on Senator Maruma's question on the gentleman standing beside his pond, if these projects, some of them were done for individuals, what mechanism did you use to identify the beneficiaries? Chair, I think those are the only questions that I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Haji.
Chair, following on Senator Moruma's question, there are several boreholes which have been done, and I think I saw something like a Juja farm, on Juja farm. So on the same light, are the boreholes being done on private land or public land? Was it driven by the request by the community? Secondly, Chair, we've been provided with two documents for the same financial year, with the only difference with the pictures on one document to the other. But when we go down to the breakdown of county climate institutional support utilization, there seems to, most of the entries seem to be correlating, except for one glaring line item, which is on the old document and doesn't appear on the new document, although it looks like the new document had additional other items. But if you go line by line, they all are the same figures, except for the election of ward climate change committee members in all wards, which is line number 3. 3,120,000 was spent. It doesn't seem to appear on the new document provided. What could be the explanation?
Yes, I think you can respond to that first, and then we allow Senator Mariam.
Okay, Chair. Let me allow the team to respond. I think Zacchaeus, you can take on a few, the ones you take on, and then Waziri.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be able to pick a few questions, and some of them are lessons that we'll take back, and you'll allow us probably to update, especially on updating on the GPS locations. Initially we felt by indicating the ward, would be able to be sufficient. So if you allow me, Chair, we would be able to provide the updated annexes with exact GPS location for every project. That will also include the updating of the number of beneficiaries, if you allow us. I will pick the question on whether projects are done on public land, especially the boreholes, as has been asked. Yes, the boreholes that are done are all done in public lands, either in schools, hospitals, or open spaces that has been identified by the community. So we do not do boreholes on private land, and that we can be able to provide, if necessary, the documentation to demonstrate that. The Kisii drainage construction, yes, it is a project that is ongoing, and I had indicated that it's at 70% complete. The funds has been used partly. We are on the second certificate, and therefore we could also be able to provide that with a quick calculation to tell you the balances that is remaining for the Kisii drainage work in Kameno. In terms of the vandalism, and I know His Excellency will speak to that, and we had mentioned this, that this project has enabled us to have participation from the community and ownership of the project. And this has been necessitated through the effort of His Excellency to ensure that the people of Kiambu own and take part in the projects from the conception stage all the way to implementation. And this has really helped across the board, not just for FLOCA projects, but in all other projects where people own these projects, and it becomes part of their processes as they also help us in monitoring. You had also asked the question of urban projects that we are implementing in Kiambu, and this is across the board. His Excellency will speak a few on them, but the most of them are in solarization of street lights, which he will be able to demonstrate, and they are all climate resilient. We also have solarization of the water supply system through our water companies. You may be aware that Kiambu County has about 8 water companies, Thika, Limuru, Karuri, Kikuyu, most of them, and all of them are majorly on the urban areas. And to ensure that we reduce the cost of production of this water and the supply, and also to ensure sustainability of the supply, under the directive of His Excellency the Governor, we have embarked on ensuring that no borehole operates on grid power. Therefore, all of them, and we are in the process of solarizing them. And thank you for that, and I'll allow CEC to pick a few, and then my counterpart will also be able to conclude. Thank you.
Mine is additional in terms of the project also in the urban. Of course, in Kiambu we also have issues to do with the drainage system. And we are experiencing a lot in Uteru, Ruiru, so we have to also improve on our drainage system. And the other thing is, and His Excellency also mentioned, we are also doing solar. That's something in terms of street. But the key point that we need to be aware, the people must own those projects. If they don't own, then we will have a lot of vandalism. Honorable Member Senator asked a question about the 13 million. We need to be clear that we had 2 phases. One, it was securing of the seedlings, buying and purchasing of the seedlings, and this we bought from JQuat. And then the next part, which again is going to be part of program, is planting the labor. We have to source for the labor, which again, that is another component. So we wanted to clarify that those are seedlings that we have bought actually from JQuat, because the program says that you must buy from a certified either KFS or those people that have
the problem is not where you bought them.
No,
sorry. The problem is that the quantity you have displayed in your photographs is not commensurate with the amount spent.
This is a portion, is a lot. We have others. There are lots. If you look at the areas that we are going to give, not only this, it's huge. Yeah, including also.
You know, the evidence you have brought to us does not reflect that.
Okay.
Even if it is huge,
Yeah.
you know, you have not given us the GPS coordinates. We could have checked it on our on our television there and our laptops. But now you have not provided the coordinates. Yeah, you have only given us photographs for only two areas. Yeah, we don't know how many bamboo seedlings you bought, and I know I don't know the Kiambu, they charge the same rate for a bamboo seedling and a red gum seedling. I don't know. So this is information that you have provided to us so that we are able to be sure that yes, this amount has been spent to buy the seedlings.
And similarly, Chair, we should then remove this project from the successfully implemented projects because you've not planted the trees. You wanted to secure the riparian land. If you've not planted the trees, then you should expurge it from that successfully implemented projects.
Yes, the question Senator Haji asked on the how much 3 million for elections. Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
On the updated document, that activity is on number 13. Payment for hiring of venues, reimbursement for transport, meals and barbarization during nomination of 60 ward planning and development committees in the county. That activity was preceded by that activity number 12, where we put a national advertisement, and people are really sensitized to come out and be part of these ward committees. So the question was, the activity is not visible in the updated document. It is number 13. Chair.
Chair.
Yes, Senator Haji.
The figure has changed from 3.120 to 3 million. And I think the advertisement that you've mentioned is also in the old. What number was that? You said number 12.
Yes.
507. You have number 5 on the old one. Nation media advertisement for ward committee nominations. The figure is the same.
So when we were reviewing the document we had submitted earlier, we realized that we had put together some payments, and therefore the 3,120,000 could constitute of the activity number 13 in the new document, and probably another activity, and then now we started separating. That's why you realize actually in the new document we have about 27 activities under the first grant, and the old one we have 17. So this was just improving the presentation and ensuring that we are able to elaborate on every activity without clumping together.
Do you have a problem in record keeping?
Not really, sir.
Then how do you give us in one document you have only 17 projects, and then in another one you have 27 projects? How can that happen? And I know the governor is very meticulous. When he was here, was the chair of the Public Accounts Committee. Unless maybe something has gone wrong. I know Governor Wamatangi was very meticulous.
Chair, as I explained earlier, as we started, there was an earlier document that was tabled here. And that is what now is the first document.
Yes.
Since then, we have had ongoing works, including some of these tree planting and others, and indeed even now some of the projects are ongoing. So that is why it was important for us to then submit an updated version So probably the better thing would have been to disregard one and just consider the updated version that has been submitted later, because that is the one now that depicts the current situation, notwithstanding the issue raised by Senator Haji, probably on that disaggregation of the amounts.
But you know, Governor,
yes,
these were projects which were done in the financial year 23-24 and 24-25. So they must have been, maybe some of them have been completed, and records now finalized. Because if you are dealing with 25-26, yeah, then or 24-25, then we'll have a problem, because maybe the projects are still ongoing. But these are projects which were done, I think, in, for instance, the election of the ward committees. That was the first grant, isn't it? 23-24. So those were all complete. 22, 23, 24. See?
Yes, Judge. There's on that tabulation at the end of the activity, we have listed the completed ones and the ones that are not completed.
Yes.
So such activities are definitely complete. A project like the one for rehabilitation of riparian areas and tree planting, that is on continuous onwards, because we have areas where they rehabilitate the riparian, plant, and then plant again, plant more, to fill in. So some of those projects are long term, they're multi-year. But the ones that are completed have been listed as completed.
But we don't have photos for the riparian grounds which have been completed.
Yes,
we have only the
names. We also have the names, Chair, on the list. They are the areas where these activities is undertaken within the wards. So I think maybe that would have also answered part of the question that Senator Nyoto had asked on what activities are we having within the urban areas. Some of our riparian areas span through, Chair, even some of those urban areas. And allow me to say at that point, Chair, that urban does not mean necessarily either highly developed or maybe upscale, for that matter. We have urban areas in some of our very urban wards that are what you would describe at slum level. Yeah, we in places like Roiro, we have areas like a place called Kiambu. And just to buttress that, Chair, because I would want to be putting on record what Senator Nyoto had asked. When there were the heavy rains of the year 2023, Chair, in the country, we had to hire boats to go and rescue people from some of the slum areas in Roiro, a place like Kio Ward and Mweki Ward. We hired boats from Nairobi to go and rescue people from their own houses. But then after that, we undertook these programs to drain most of those areas. And as late as these last heavy rains, there has not been a single case of any of the people that had the same problems that were there before then. Chair, let me also state that, again to that question, Kiambu is one of the counties that has undertaken the highest number and extent of solarization, and especially solar street lighting. Chair, when I became governor, the annual power bill for Kiambu County was 700 million per year to Kenya Power. As we speak, we are below 200 and around 80 million from 700 million. What we have done, Chair, is massive solarization. And as of now, we have invested close to probably 1.5 billion in ensuring that we have solarized all power to ensure proper and climate resilient lighting. Lastly is on the program to ensure that all power, all water is solarized. And this again we are doing with our water companies and other programs. So even within some of the would be considered urban areas, we have a lot of boreholes in most of them, and we are ensuring that all of them are solarized. One of the stories that we have to deal with, and I'm sure even senators find the same when you go to your rural areas, is that you find we invest a lot to give people water. After a year or two, when you go back there, the same people who are trying to rescue cannot consume that water. Reason, they were connected to power, and the bills have run into millions of shillings for people in the first place who could not afford the water. And so people see the borehole there. Some of them we rescue that boreholes have been there for many years, and they can't consume the water. So once we solarize, people are able to consume the water and get the service that was intended without having to go through the challenges that they were going through before. So in that sense, we have tackled what we would call the urbanized sector of our communities, Chair, to deal with this. And that's why I had said, I think, in conclusion, if some of this we had looked at in hindsight, these amounts of money, huge amounts of money we have spent directly from our budget, we should have linked them to FLOCA earlier, and probably we would have benefited twice as much. We are wiser now, and certainly moving forward, we are going to have to do what we are supposed to have done in the first place to get more money by declaring most of those programs under FLOCA. So, Chair, probably just as far as the questions are concerned, maybe, Chair, we would stand guided on the next move.
Thank you, Senator. Maybe you allow Senator Mariam.
Thank you, Chair. I totally agree with the Governor on the solarization of the borehole. That is totally in arid and semi-arid land where we are. Because of KPLC issues, people are not getting water, but the idea of now solarization is a solution to the water connection to the households. My question is, first, is this 132 inclusive 70 million? The amount which you have received from FLOCA? The figure of 32, is it inclusive of 70 million you have contributed?
No. To the Chair?
Yes.
The 132 is what we received. The 70 is a county contribution.
Okay. Then the amount of the amount of NAFLOCA plus the 70 is 202. Agree? The cost you have incurred is the 22 on the institutions, county institutional support plus the expenditure of 172. That is 194. There's a difference of 8 million.
No, it's 80,000, which they have. They are saying this their counterpart funding, 70 plus 10 million, and then.
The counterpart is 80.
80, yes. Is that so?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not 70.
70 under the second grant, 10 under the first grant for institutional support.
That's
yes.
Then it is offsetted because if I have not included that 10, there is 8 million difference. The other one is on the seedling. I'm so concerned on these assorted fruits trees. If at all you have distributed and the farmers, they have planted. If they have planted, when you are bringing pictures, you're supposed to show also the farmers which are there so that we can put it as successful and implemented projects. Because what we have realized in this FLOCA issue, this issue of the seedlings is where the corruption happens. So let's be concerned on this one. And it is, in fact, when you see, it is the highest expense. If you see the cost side, the other one is 30 million, this one is 7 million. So let's be concerned on this issue of seedling. Thank you.
Charlie, the last one for me.
Yes.
Is there are projects here which are still undergoing the process of procurement. That is on page 6 and 7. These projects are for which financial year? And what are the challenges? Like the last projects, the construction of farm ponds in Goliba and Deia and Karai wards, 14.9 million. Do you have the exchequer release? Is it the lack of counterpart funding? When are the people of Goliba and Deia and Karan likely to start using the farm ponds?
And then, Governor, before you answer that, how many wards do you have in Kiambu? Wards? 60.
Yes,
But then I'm counting here, they are not 60. The ones that have been have benefited from the projects, they are not 60.
Well, most of those are the ongoing, Chair, and the ones that we have lifted there, and others where this has been applied. So, but you gentlemen can answer to that question properly.
We have a work plan for the current financial year that is ongoing. We still have some funds in the second grant for ongoing projects, as well as the current work plan, because we still have another 6 months for the current FLOCA program. So these are ongoing projects. Chair.
Okay. So give us, you know, we are also concerned about equity. So that you don't spend all the money in Kiganjo ward simply because the governor comes from there. Yeah, because I can see construction of 8 sustainable land management SLM, Kiganjo, Chania, supply of assorted fruit trees, Kiganjo, Chania again, Goliba. Then 10-kilometer terraces, Kiganjo, Chania, Goliba, procurement of soil, conservation spirit levels, Kiganjo, Chania, Goliba. See?
Chair, if you allow me, okay, one, I don't come from Kiganjo, but those wards that you see listed there, Karai, Goliba, and Deia, those are the counties, those are the wards that fall within Kiambu County that would be listed as semi-arid. Yeah, those are the hardest hit areas about water, about things to do with irrigation and so on. These are the areas that require most of the interventions. In Kiambu, we have at least a third of the land where we border Machakos and Kitui, where we border Narok and Kajiado. Most of those wards are very, very dry areas, which are very unlike now what you see on the other part of Limuru and so on. And so the interventions about the planting of trees, fruits, and water solutions are very needed there in those areas. That's why you may see them being repeated quite a lot.
Thank you. Maybe you... Any other response?
Maybe, Chair, next time when they're giving us a report, we need, because the way you have put the money received as per the financial year, we need also the project to be done as per the financial year, so that it will be easy for us, which each financial year, which project has been implemented and which is completed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Governor. Maybe your last word.
Thank you, Chair. I want to appreciate the committee, especially because when I served in this house, matters, FLOCA and others have not taken center stage. We are glad to see that you are following this down to implementation, because It also gives us a chance as governors to raise our voice and also share with you, and I also want to applaud that approach by the committee, that you get an opportunity to let you know what the challenges are in the course of your work in protecting counties. Then you would know where to angle your voice more for us to get the assistance we need. Chair, one of the challenges that I think was run over through by my team here is on the issue of consistency of disbursements. That is one issue we would still want to urge members of the Senate to do the best that they can to let that issue be addressed as it should be. It affects counties in a very big way, Chair, because even implementation of such time-bound programs by donors is a big issue, because sometimes you wait for 3 months without disbursements. So that's one of the areas that would be urging the Senate to do the best they can to help us. Secondly, Chair, is I think it is also important that we urge you to, in your discussions and engagement with the national government, to voice out that when conditional grants have been received by national government on behalf of counties, then they should be released also equally promptly. Chair, there are many grants, and as you are doing the CARA bill, there are many programs that are funded under the conditional grants. Some of them, Chair, are received by the National Treasury early enough, but most of them, Chair, most you find will be released towards the end of the financial year. And so their absorption, utilization becomes a very big challenge. Even responsibility to the donors in terms of accountability and time boundedness by the counties becomes a challenge. Sometimes you're forced to have some of those programs ongoing and funding them from the county kitty so that they don't get stuck. We have a current challenge. It's not related to this committee, where, Chair, we stayed for 3 years without receipt of any funds on the RMLF, zero. But roads have to be maintained, Chair. And then when the release of the funds was occurring, they did pursue. Out of a debt to counties of 10.4 billion, the only amount released was only 1 billion to all the counties. Kiambu is owed over $1 billion as of today, but the only amount we received was 100 million. Yet for those 4 years now running, people have to move. Roads have to be done. People can be stuck. And so I think that's a an area of major concern that we would also want you to see how you intervene in the course of the discussions you have in the Senate. But otherwise, to applaud you, Chair. We are glad that you've invited us. Our apologies. We got a bit mixed up because of the issue of the matter that was in court and some of the constrictions of our service delivery. We will be responding as fast as possible and all the time, Chair. We don't have to wait for summons. As a senator, always a senator. So I've been here and I would
thank you. Maybe just to respond to the issues. Number one, this year we have already passed CARA and the SIGA. It was our commitment in the finance committee. I sit with Senator Mariam in this finance committee that we dispose of these two important legislation immediately after we are done with DORA, so that we can be able to allow the Treasury now to be able to follow the disbursement schedule. Because although we passed both acts with a disbursement schedule, they normally are not up to date in disbursements of these funds. Number two, on the RLMLF, we had a standoff with the National Assembly. And the standoff was partly caused because there was a matter before the court. And they were saying that you asked the governors to withdraw the case in court, then we passed this. Yeah, so, and we were not willing to take that route because it was not our case. As Senate, we never participated, although we were sued as interested parties, but we opted not to participate in that proceeding. But the matter maybe went on its own, and now I think they have they want to amend the act so that, in fact, the amendment was read last week in the plenary. They want to amend the RMLF, the Roads Act, I think, so that the counties are almost completely locked out of these RMLF funds. We are dealing with that as a Senate. But one of the challenges which also we have been able to see with our colleagues is that they normally apply these funds to other uses. For instance, they will transfer the money to the special account, but then they want to pay a supplier who is maybe very in financial need or whatever the case. So they'll go back to the special account, take some money, and then refund when they receive their exchequer. No, that's not allowed, and I think 2 counties were suspended for that. I think it is it Narok or Kajiado? Kajiado and another county was suspended from the FLOCA program because of that. And yes, Kajiado and Nyamira. So we urge you, maybe because you meet your colleagues, some of them maybe are also not willing to attend some of these sessions, but this is, it's not a grilling. You know, when you appear before a committee of the Senate, you are not being grilled. You are a person who can give evidence that will help the committee in its inquiry. So here we are not cross-examining you that the way you are cross-examined in court. Here we are just asking questions to further the inquiry that the members are making in regard to the issue before them. So tell your colleagues that we are not here to cross-examine anybody. We are here just to ask questions on your own documents, because you are the person who have given us this document. So we scrutinize the document and ask questions that any reasonable person will be asking, so that he can have a clear mind on what the issues are. So thank you very much, Governor, and we look forward to visiting Kiambu, because it's close by. We want to visit Kiambu to see the completed projects and the riparian reserves that have been restored, and also taste some of the fruits that you have bought with your seedlings. Thank you.